A beautiful morning to you and welcome to the newspaper review for today. I am Ayo, bringing you the news headline. And today we are still having conversation on the minimum wage and then taking the conversation to the June 12th celebration. Some Nigerians took to the streets on the 12th of June 2024 to protests, and according to them, including certain places in Lagos yesterday, some some Nigerians were seen with placards, with banners, with the inscription, "Put an end to hunger, put an end to hardship." But then let's take this conversation from the very beginning. While Mr. President was speaking yesterday at the dinner in Aso Rock, he mentioned that he mentioned to the Senate president that he would be he can only he can only pay the amount according to him. Let me quote him directly. He said, "Senate President, Deputy Senate President, you will get a notice from me if I have changed my mind on minimum wage about minimum wage. We are going to do it. What Nigerian can afford, what you can afford, what I can afford. They ask you to cut your coat according to your size, if you have size at all." So this is the conversation he was having with the Senate president yesterday night, and it is making quite a number of Nigerians to react as to the amount they want to execute and sign into law. Because according to him, he said he would pass the executive document to the lawmakers to pass it into law. So the question now is that how much are they passing into law? So here is the conversation, and as always, as you know, I have my co-host with me who will also be analyzing this segment with me, the person of Uachuku Treasure. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So what do you think, what can you assume to be the amount that the Mr. President wants to pass to the National Assembly to sign into law as the new minimum wage? And why do you think the conversation on minimum wage is pending up until now?
Okay. Firstly, I will take it from why is the discussion taking more than supposed
Yeah.
time. It is obvious that whenever it has to do with the people, it takes time. This is not the only thing that we are experiencing, this lingering of intervention of the government.
Yeah, of
All right, we have the issue of hunger. We have the issue of so many other things that happen to be an issue in the country, and we see that because they are not being affected. Of course, someone that is entitled to hardship allowance in millions, all right, will not be bothered about what is happening, all right, to the masses. So to me, I feel that when it borders on the people and they are not being affected, it takes them time. Of course, we've seen the increment on the lawmakers being made without hesitation, without so many meetings. We've seen the increment, the approval of buying of huge amount of vehicles for the lawmakers and some other people. These things happen without series of meetings. For example, the passing to law of the new national anthem, because it has been in the president's mind. All right. So there was no too much meeting. There was no too much consultation because it has been in his mind. It is his priority.
Yeah.
All right. So to me, I feel that this thing is lingering because it is for the people. It has to do with the people. All right. And I also want to say that on the area of what is expected.
Yeah.
All right, we can actually prophesy that. Let me use that word, prophecy, from what has been playing out already. All right, judging from how they've been adding 2K, 3K, to me, I feel if they have proposed 65, 62, and the people are saying no, I don't think they can go beyond 65. They might just add, they might just add 3K. They've added urgent 2K, which the people rejected at this time. The situation is no longer about urgent 2K because the urgent 2K can't even buy anything again. Right? So to me, I feel that they will just make it urgent 3K, right, to make it 65. I don't think the government is going to take it to even 100,000. But now there is something that I've been wondering. Recently we saw a story where they say the governor or the government of Edo State, has resumed paying their staff 70,000. And I wonder, some governors are saying 60,000 is even too much. So, and that governor is paying. I don't know how true is that. We may need to find out if actually the people in Edo State have started receiving such amount. Sometimes we hear a story and what is happening is not in alignment with what we hear from them. So I don't think they are going to add something huge. But from all they are already saying, what they can afford. But the question is, does it mean Nigeria cannot afford to pay their workers well?
Exactly. That's actually where we should be looking at. That the same Nigeria that can pay close to 30 million naira to a senator in a month, how come you cannot pay the people that are truly working to get the money? It is quite understandable that that some of these federal workers that NLC are fighting for, some of them do not even go to work.
Sorry
they go
to cut you.
Once or twice in a week.
Sorry to cut you. Now the senators have been paid close to 30 million in a month. Now these senators, do they go to farm for the nation? Do they go to war? Are they the one fighting insecurity for the nation? What are the main things these people are doing for the nation that they are earning that with their allowances? It's a problem that these people the NLCs are fighting for, they are the people that are under rain, under sun. They are the one going through traffic, no proper medication system, and they are the one that the government is finding difficult to pay well. It's a pity.
Yeah. And also the fact that they've not even said anything. Mr. President gave the Minister of Finance 48 hours to produce a reasonable amount. And 48 hours has become issue of more than how many hours now? It has been going on for days. And personally, I just see that the federal government is not going to do more than the 62,000 naira they have agreed on. Wow. And I can see the issue of nonchalancy playing out from the part of the federal government. I mean, how can you be mute up until now over issue that is bordering a certain percentage of your own people, the people you are ruling over?
A very high percent of them.
This is and they are talking about being accountable for democracy. While he was speaking, addressing Nigerians yesterday, he was talking about we all being accountable to democracy. It is the work of every citizen to ensure that true democracy is carried out. And you can see that democracy is not playing out on the part of our government. I mean, if you can still not say anything now concerning minimum wage, you're still keeping mute. You are not disclosing the amounts yet. It means that you are throwing these people to the dark. And according to him, he said, it is what I can afford. He's not talking about what Nigeria can afford. He said it is what he can afford.
So it's not as if it's coming from his personal pocket.
Yeah, exactly. So he's speaking from a personal motive that you are Nigerian workers. What exactly are there's a way you just look at people. What's this job that you are doing and you are being paid? You are supposed to be paid at this amount. No, this is what I can afford. And he further said that, they said cut your coat according to your size. And he said that is if there is a size at all. Since this administration came into power, I'm always very careful of the things that they say. I have to read extra meaning to what they are saying. That if he's saying that this is what he personalized it, what I can afford, that means that he has gauged the Nigerian workers that you cannot exceed this level of success. You cannot. There are people that they want you to be rich, but they don't want you to be rich as them. There are people that want you to go far, but they don't want you to reach the heights that you've gotten to. So this is what we can afford. This is the crumbs that we can afford to give to the Nigerian workers. And this is what we are tabling before the National Assembly. So I feel like the reason why they are yet to reach a conclusion on the amounts they want to pay the Nigerian worker is because they know within themselves that we cannot exceed this limit. You can't get up to our level.
But the truth of the matter is that in as much as you have stated clearly that he personalized it, and that is what, of course, he did. Now, if the economy of Nigeria can pay the senators, all the ministers, and in millions, pay their allowances, pay their, in fact, debt allowance while they are still alive, monthly wardrobe allowance, which we know that they don't buy clothes to the amount they are being paid. Even library allowance, newspaper allowance, that we know that they don't read newspaper. Now, if the economy of Nigeria can take care of all this luxurious life these people are living, what make you think this economy cannot pay Nigerian workers? Okay, we are, I think, 200 million in number, according to census. Now, if we are to put together all the money that has been looted, that are not yet to be recovered, because I believe you cannot steal what is not there. If the money is not in Nigeria, these people, they are not stealing this money from outside the country. All right, so it means that this money is somewhere not being used. This money is being somewhere, maybe possibly, probably kept to be shared, and that is why someone was able to hijack it. Now, if all this money looting we hear of, all this money channeled on projects that are not even meant to be, can be put together, what make you think that Nigerians cannot be paid even more than what the NLC is even requesting for? But it is the selfishness of our leaders not wanting the people to rise to a certain height in life. All right. So, but I think, to me, I feel it's a choice for you to remain in a certain spot. All right. In as much as someone else is not willing to lift you above where they want you to be, you can decide to lift yourself. And that is why I say there is still what the people can do over this matter. He is saying, but he cannot pay what he cannot pay. The Nigerian people are asking for a living wage, a minimum wage from the Nigeria treasury, not from the Nigerian account, not from his own personal account. Right? So if he is saying that according to him, this is what he can afford, Nigerians are not asking him to pay them. They are asking the system. There is a system in the country which is capable of affording this thing they are requesting for. And you and I know that the system can actually take care of even more than what the NLC is requesting for. The system can take care of it. We have oil. We have other resources in this nation. This system, these resources put together, well managed, can take care of even more than what the NLC is requesting for.
While the information minister, Muhammad Idris, was reacting to this issue of minimum wage yesterday, he said, and I quote, that as I have repeatedly said, the federal government is not opposed to the increase of wages for Nigerian workers, but we keep on advocating for a realistic and sustainable wage system for the workers, a wage system that will not undermine the economy, lead to mass retrenchment of workers, and jeopardize the welfare of about 200 million Nigerians. And I want to ask that, in what way has the Nigerian government been looking after the welfareism of Nigerians?
How realistic is 62K for a worker? Like what can it do for anyone currently based on the Nigeria economy? What can 62,000 do for anyone? What can it buy? All right. I'm sure they are not. There is, according to, there is age grade in the federal and state level. So now anybody working on that, they know is a family person. So somebody is either you're a family of 6, a family of 2, but you're a family. Any man working and you have a wife and children, what can 62,000 do?
Now, what can 62,000 do for a single person in Nigeria? It is extended to that. It is extended to that. Even if, and this 62,000 naira we are talking about, we still have a lot of state governors that are owing their workers. Their workers are being owed, even despite when they were paying lesser. So what is the visibility of them being able to pay this amount now? But then, reacting to the information minister that was talking about the welfareism of 200 million Nigerians, like in Nigeria, it is only in Nigeria that we see that people pray for what they should be enjoying. We pray for proper health care. We pray for security. we pray for this, we pray for that. We can practically say that the Nigerian government is not subsidizing anything for Nigeria. And, I actually want to move this conversation further, because the only thing out of the 6 point agenda that the NLC passed across to the federal government, we have only been considering one of them, because the NLC were fighting for the welfareism of their workers, that their workers are being used. These people are doing the job of 2 or 3 persons, yet they are not, their remuneration is not increasing. At the same time, they are being underpaid. At the same time, their health is not guaranteed. At the same time, they don't have allowances allocated to them, as we have our senators being given allowance. There is the part of the tariff that the NLC mentioned, that you have to bring back the tariff to 66 naira per kilowatt per hour. So we are not having this conversation. The conversation has been on minimum wage. So far, so good. So now the question to also consider is that if at all the federal government want to conclude on 62,000 naira as the minimum wage, have they also agreed that they will subsidize Nigerians, that Nigerians will no longer be segregated, they will no longer be band A, band B, and bandits, and the rest of the bands? Okay. So this is another conversation that we should be looking at, that the federal government is not taking into cognizance welfareism of these workers. If on the long run they are earning this 62,000 naira and they break down, how will their health be covered? Does insurance cover them? This is another thing we should as well look at.
Okay, you see, on that, I will lay blame on the NLC, because NLC themselves have only been hammering on minimum wage. If in all the newspaper, all they talk about is minimum wage, forgetting that there are other agenda. That minimum wage is just one of the agenda.
Yeah.
All right. So to me, I feel that before you make a move, be sure that you know what you want. To me, I feel that NLC do not really know what they want. Judging from the way how they started slashing the amount, they are not even firm. Their feet are not firm. So if they have been reminding, because of course we can see that the federal government is trying to, ignore other agendas. And I tell you that if the federal government, if there should be any addition to what they have proposed, I do not think there is going to be any reduction on the electricity tariff, because they have not mentioned it.
And speaking on that electricity tariff, the information minister was as well saying that if the thing that NLC is supposed to be fighting for now is that they should support the Nigerian government, that beyond adding money to their salary, that what they should as well be supporting is the CNG buses that the Nigerian government is intending to commission, which we can see that in some places it is working, in some places, which is not all, which is the case of the compressed natural gas buses. Now, let's look at it from that. They said if that bus become a nationwide thing, that we begin to use it in Nigeria, that they are going to slash transportation by 50%. According to him, that was what he said. That like that, by the time transportation is slashed by 50%, the Nigerian workers will not be spending too much on transportation. And one thing that is just coming to my head is compressed natural gas in Nigeria. How do we intend to maintain it?
The truth of that, thank God you are asking that question. Another thing that we should consider is, have they considered the risk involved?
Of course.
Judging from the rate of sun in Nigeria, this sun that should have been converted to something beneficial to the people, considering the way people smoke recklessly in Nigeria. Do you know the
people
danger?
Even smoke in buses.
Oh God. Do you know the danger? So what measure have they put together to handle the hazard attached to this thing they are trying to commission? Because in as much as it is good, but the thing is, what measure has been put in place to tackle any possible hazard that might likely emanate from it? Which we know that none, as we speak now, none has been put in place.
If care is not taken, we'll still have to be praying, God, as I'm in this CNG bus, watch over me.
No, what we hear before, the cases we used to have now is a gas station explosion. So now we begin to have buses explosion. Because anything, okay, now just imagine Lagos State traffic.
Yeah.
So when the vehicle is in traffic for a very long time, the body becomes heat. What happens? You know, the country, it is good they are trying to replicate some of the things they see abroad, but the system there and the system here, is it the same?
Of course.
It's not the same. So we don't even have a good road for vehicles. Now, this one, at least, before you talk about creating a new thing, let the one that is in existence be good enough for the people.
Yeah.
This is rainy season. Go out there, you see most of the traffic people are suffering is as a result of bad road.
Yeah.
This road, at least many people travel by road. Why not fix the roads? Why not fix the road? So to me, I see that these people, all they do is to initiate anything and so that they can tell us that so billion or trillion was channeled towards achieving those things.
Just imagine the amounts they spend on the CNG buses. Billions of naira. They spend billions of naira. And what is just coming to me is that why spend such amount of money on CNG buses?
And they talk about accountability.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there is nothing they have come out to tell us, okay, this project is also amount. And this is why, when you are saying you are being accountable, you should be able to tell somebody what amount, your calculation that amount to the amount you are telling us. But what we keep hearing is figure. During Buhari regime, we see things in billions. Under this regime, we are seeing things in trillions. I don't know if there's something more than trillion. Before we know it, that's what we'll begin to hear under this administration. So to me, I feel that there is more to that. That bus.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of even channeling that energy on the bus, they can actually do something that lasts. Instead of spending so much money on CNG buses, why not look for a system that will ensure that the Nigerian people can get power from other source. We can get power from, like this compressed natural gas. We can get power through it. We can get how to generate our own solar, because you see that in the 200 million population that we are talking about in Nigeria, daily people are giving birth. Daily the Nigerian population is increasing every day. So can our power plants cater for the need of over 200 million Nigerians? These are things that we should consider. So what is the need for CNG buses when you can actually look for other source of power that Nigerians can depend on? Okay, we are investing this money on, let's say, solar. Then a 50% Nigerians, we have to depend on this. And do you know that in some estates in Nigeria, they generate power on their own? They don't depend on the power plants. So if individuals can do, I was listening to someone yesterday who was making reference to these CNG buses. He said in his organization, they generate power by themselves, and they've been using it back to back for 7 years. And an event they did over the weekend, they used that solar to power about 25 air conditions. Imagine somebody speaking like that, and he's speaking from experience. He's not saying, no, we are telling you this. He's showing it. We powered it, and people were asking, where are you getting light from? We are not hearing generator sound. We are not hearing this. How do you do it? And they were explaining to them. So these are people that Nigerian governments can actually reach out to. How were you able to achieve this? Even if we are not achieving this immediately for the whole of the 200 million Nigerians, let's look for how we can achieve it for a certain percentage of Nigeria. If it is working perfectly in this wing, if it is working perfectly for these people, then we can then take it further to other places. But the Nigerian government are not looking at this, and they are just giving, they are just giving us motivational speech. We have given you slash on transportation. But how effective is it going to be on the long run? What is the maintenance? We have a very bad maintenance culture in Nigeria. Somewhere along Isolo Road, when they just did that road, everybody was, the Nigerian government are trying, Lagos State government is trying. But go to that road today, it's just as if there is a bomb blast that eats deep into the heads. Because when it rains, there's water there, and traffic and all of that. The gutters that they opened did not link up to anywhere, because you mentioned road the other time. There are gutters in those roads, but those roads are not leading anywhere. Just imagine CNG bus. A CNG bus now passed that place now. By mistake, something happened. It hits the coverts. By mistake, before you know it, we start hearing explosion. What do we have ambulances in Nigeria? I said ambulance, fire service. Our fire service in Nigeria effective, that you see that when there's an explosion, our fire service will be there swiftly.
They've not even been able to intervene over fire in the house and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not talk about emergency. the thing there are so many things. These people, our leaders, are not just trying to be fair and faithful.
Yeah.
They know what they can do. These people, they travel abroad. Almost everything they do, their medicals and they is all abroad. So they are seeing these things. Now, in some developed countries, all right, they do not their vehicle users do not only depend on petroleum. Now we have a very high intensity of sun in Nigeria. Now, in some developed countries, they make use of, there's a way, there are electric cars that are chargeable. They are chargeable cars that what the government of those countries do is to create a mix. Now, instead of people having to go to buy fuel for their car, buy fuel for your generator, people charge their car. And the charging of that car is not done individually. The government created the system where instead of you charge your car and pay to the government. It has reduced the rate of depending on fuel. It has reduced the rate the amount you're going to spend on fuel. These are things where people, Nigerian governments can emulate. At least there is not much risk. All right. So, but it's quite. You talk about maintenance culture. You're even talking about Isolo Road. Why not talk about this Lekki Ekpe Road? If you visit, if coming from Eleko towards Abramadesanya, if you see some of this road, there is no maintenance. But if you want to go through the government expenses, you will notice that there's certain amount allocated for maintenance, but nobody is doing the maintenance.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I would like that we quickly brush through this next story, still in relation to the clamor from NLC. Some Nigerians took to the streets yesterday, being the 12th of June 2024, and they protested against hunger. We took a story, I think on Monday, where the DSS are warning Nigerians who intends to protest. But Nigerians have proven that we are very stubborn. You won't try that with us. And Nigerians mark the June 12th Democracy Day celebration. Some aggrieved citizens on Wednesday, they protested against the current state of the nation. Like, we know that there were protests in Ikeja. So in some places in Abuja, there were protests. There was a protest rather. In Ibadan as well, there was protest. And I also read that there in some of the places that there was protest in Ibadan, that the police arrested some guys there. And the only thing that these people are clamoring for is that we are hungry, put an end to hardship, put an end to this struggle. This is what they are saying to the Nigerian government. But at the same time, that same June 12th, our president decided to give us a shocker by commissioning, should we call that commissioning, the world's largest portrait canvas. And, this is contrary to what Nigerians are saying. You want to make a hit on a day like that, and Nigerians are saying otherwise, that we are not enjoying the true democracy. What we are enjoying is pain, suffering, and hunger, and it decided to throw all Nigerians a shocker. So I want to hear your thoughts. Should we say that the Nigerian government is rejoicing in the pain of the Nigerian people?
It is with all that is happening that our leader, even our dear president, is, should I say, he's not actually moved by the cry of the people. So long it is, he is pleased with it. Imagine a president that is personalizing the payments of the nation's worker. All right. To me, I feel that, should I say he's trying to privatize this nation? He's trying to, from not bothered about the crowd, because if you are serving as a leader, you are a servant. If you're actually serving, you are meant to shoulder the burden of the people. Now, about the move of the Nigerian youth or the Nigerians, to me, I feel it's getting to that point where that will be the only option. I tell you, because now we all can see Nigerians are highly disappointed in NLC, judging from how they have handled this thing from onset. Now, the right to protest, or a peaceful protest, is the citizens' right. So the DSS or whoever coming to threaten them is even against the law, on which we know that these people, our leaders, most times don't so. All right, so it's going to be the end of the whole matter, because you cannot beat a child and expect that child not to cry. That is the state where Nigerians are at the moment. That is the state where it has gotten to, whereby it is only when somebody is comfortable, that is when they listen to threats.
Yeah.
But when somebody is charged based on hunger, a hungry man is an angry man. So that is, to me, I feel that it's just the best thing. Then coming to the portrait, from what I discovered about that portrait, it was said that about 36 or 37 persons from all the states were involved, came together for the creation of that portrait. Now, the question is, what is the economic benefit of that portrait? Now, I tried to get an estimate of what this portrait can cost. Now, whatever it costs, is it coming from his pocket or is it coming from the Nigeria purse? All right, and this thing is estimated to be in thousands of dollars, according to rough estimate. Now, in a time where you are saying the country is poor, one of the governor, I think the current governor of Anambra State, is saying recently, he said that Nigeria is a poor country. We cannot pay more than, we cannot pay the workers huge. Or he said that, I think yesterday or today. All right, now a country that is said, according to them, because we know we are not poor, God has blessed us in this country. A country that is presumed to be poor, you are making, a portrait worth thousands of dollars. Maybe they are still going to come out to tell us the amount spent on that portrait. But what is the essence of it? What effect does it have on the Nigerians? All right. What are those things you have achieved that make you so happy that you want to make such portrait of yourself? How do you feel? Does it bother you how the people will react seeing this in a time where there is clamor for minimum wage, in a time where there is insecurity, in a time where there is, the economy is so bad that people can hardly feel. The rate of begging in Nigeria has increased, right? Because people, what they are being paid can no longer sustain them. So it's actually a misplacement of priority.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the word. And it is what Nigerians has been reacting to since yesterday that we saw the portrait. I mean, in a time like this, and it is making me it was saying that Nigerians are celebrating 31 years of true democracy. And it drove me back to memory lane. And you see, the one who truly fought for this democracy that we're enjoying, he wasn't a lazy man. He wasn't draining Nigerians. He wasn't feeding on the sweat of Nigerians. MKO Abiola was a businessman. He was an entrepreneur. He has his business. He has something he was doing, and he was willing to serve the Nigerian people. When he won the election in 1993, he won the election, and the then interim government, they put him in prison. He wasn't declared the winner, and he was kept in prison. This man was in prison until, I think, 1998. He died in the prison, and on the course for his wife to get justice for him, she was shot dead along Bega Road. Till date, we don't know who killed her. We don't know what led to the death of MKO Abiola. He was willing to stay in that prison. He left everything and he truly saved Nigerians. And it is the reason why we are celebrating democracy. That as a leader, you must be willing to lay down your life for your people. You don't suck them dry. And 31 years after, the President Bola Ahmed TINUBU came back to show a portrait of himself. And it is making me to wonder, if you are showing a portrait of yourself on a day like this, then what becomes of the true chief Democrat, the true democracy fighter in the country? What becomes of him? And democracy is not even to celebrate, it is not majorly to celebrate our past hero, our fallen hero. It is as well to celebrate people who have truly served the people. So if he's showing a portrait of himself, the question go back to how well has he been able to serve himself? How well has he able to serve the people? You know, you mentioned that about 37 persons were involved in creation of that portrait. Definitely, they won't use their thought, their saliva to make that portrait. They will invest in quality materials. They will invest in quality equipment that is needed to create that thing. And definitely, I just feel like the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has a good PR that teaches him perfect things to do on a day like this, to get the name, to get the image, to get, to get the accolades. And that is why we see the Dobale to democracy on a day like June 12th.
What do you call it?
Dobale to democracy now.
Coming to that, anyway, Sha, what we have observed under this administration is that they tell us something, and what we are seeing is different. Coming back to that portrait, if you have done well, you should be celebrated by the people you are serving, not you celebrating yourself.
Yeah.
What we see under this administration is this our leader trying to celebrate themselves. If you cannot be doing well, and everybody is saying you are not doing well.
Yeah.
And all we see are people, anybody saying anything positive about the leadership of our dear president Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are people that are eating from him, are people that are benefiting from his administration. Now, you talk about Dobale. Thank God we all watched the video. All right. I, as a person, I understand the culture of Dobale in Yoruba land. I understand how it goes. There is a difference between Dobale portraying and falling. What we witnessed was a fall, not a portrait. Nothing like Dobale. Let's call a spade a spade. All right. And I can say that nobody doubts what he sees. I don't know if they know that nobody. If we were told, it would have been a different thing. And that is why I so much like this era. That this era of social media is a digital system.
Yeah.
Because now, I'm sure of course, they do not know how that video got into the internet. Yeah. And
it was live. So it was live.
So we saw it and we know live. What we saw.
It was live.
And you are telling us a different interpretation. The culture, you don't need to be a Yoruba to understand the culture of Yoruba. You can study it. All right. So we know what we saw and we know what Dobale means. Anyway, that is not the story. All right. But to me, that portrait now, instead of having Nigeria as the world, the most peaceful place in the world, instead of having Nigeria or having a record, Nigeria as a nation, well rich with agriculture, instead of having a record that Nigeria that Nigeria is a place where investors can come in. We are having a record, Nigeria, having the world largest portrait. What is the economic benefit of this portrait? And this thing is not coming from a personal purse. That is what the problem is. This thing now cannot come from a personal purse. So it becomes a problem that the welfareism of the people are not even being considered.
And my final take on this story is that the Nigerian government is insensitive to the need of our people.
Very, very.
Considering a time like this, you want to make it to Forbes, you want to make it into Guinness Book of Records. You just want to make a name for yourself, but you have truly not served the people. And, the fall is actually a lesson to our leaders that at this point, this is passing a message to you that you should do something. Nigerians are lamenting. We hope that next year, June 12th, it's going to beyond fall. We hope that it is not going to land somebody to the hospital. And we just hope that they won't spend billions of naira. So on this story, this is all that we can take. Till we come your way again, please do have a great day.